Welcome to the Global Impact Virtual Conference hosted by ISTE community leaders. My name is Sue Milda, and I'm excited to host the session with you today. I am a computer science teacher, middle and high school in Calgary, Alberta. I'm originally from Singapore, but I've lived and taught here in Calgary for a number of years now. I'm also the Innovation Design, Entrepreneurship, and Skills Lead at my school. These are my contact information right here, and I will show it again at the end. You can email me or find me on X. This session is entitled Virtual Reality Coding, a creative, fun, and engaging way to learn computational thinking. All right, what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to share with you my teaching and learning experience teaching virtual reality to my students in grade 7s to 9. And I'm going to introduce you to the virtual reality platform and take you on a little journey right through it. Now, the work that I am doing is really rooted in student engagement. And I know I teach computer science or coding. It's really exciting. Students are generally very engaged. But we had a visit from Dr. John Antonetti at our school, and who talked really about how to engage students and the type of activities that we were looking at. And so my work over the last year or so has been really focused on how to look at student engagement through the lens of computational thinking and through the lens of coding. So these are some questions I asked myself. How can I make learning impactful and engaging? How can I help students create and explore without directly giving them answers? And how can I get students to go deeper into their learning? Often students ask me, okay, how do I do that? Or how do we get to the end here? And often I try to lead them through, discovery without giving them the answers, because often there are multiple answers, especially when it comes to coding. Um, Computational thinking is another aspect that we will be talking about. It really is, this quote was taken from ISTE, and essentially, it's an essential literacy for all students, and truly combines different parts, different ways of thinking, from decomposing a problem, looking at patterns, abstracting or making things sort of simpler, as well as algorithm, the pattern in which you can solve problems. And it's not limited to coding or a computer-based classroom. What we really are looking for is to develop the skills and how we can approach problem solving in all disciplines. So the students will need these skills in their future, and of course in their classroom, designing solutions in all disciplines for them to create some new tools perhaps, and of course communicate with those who automate computer-supported solutions. Because when you start to talk to people who might be coding a website for you, or people who might be coding an app to design a type of solution, or even working with artificial intelligence, you're going to need computational thinking skills. And really, this is really a 21st century literacy skill in computational thinking. Now, looking at my teaching and learning experience, I am really looking at the work that I have done for the grade 7 to 9 computer science and coding option. I really started out with some very prescriptive learning for my students, and gradually opened up the project to more letting students play and discover, and then kind of culminating that knowledge and their understanding in through an escape room assessment group project. And that is the experience that I've had through building and delivering this project over the last couple of years. I wanted to share with you, from my students' perspective, a post survey. So I'd done some of the activities that I wanted to share with my students, and then they've done the escape room, and then I asked them some pointed questions as to what they thought, or how they thought the project went. So I thought this project was too easy, not challenging, or the right level of challenge, or too challenging for me. So you can see most of my students, from the 41 responses I got, they thought it was the right level of challenge. I also asked them which aspects of the project that they appreciate. So they see their answers coming to life. They could make their own graphics, and I was quite surprised by this, that they learned a lot. And in this question, many of them could just take as many answers as applied to them. I also asked them any advice for teachers who would like to teach VR coding. So lots of some great project comments. The best thing to do is to let the kids' own imagination run wild. Quite fun when students pick the theme and make their ideas come to life. Ensure you introduce the project in advance and ensure a decent amount of time is given. That's really, really good advice. Encourage lots of exploration and freedom. And really, this project was really focused on students' creativity, as I will show you in a little while. Um, I also provided a rubric for the students to follow, and I called this a collaborative rubric within my project because what I wanted the students to do was to, in their groups, declare the parts that they were responsible for, and I built in a lot of flexibility into this rubric. I also encouraged them to use their creativity. So part of the rubric was to provide them with a space where they would declare these are new things that I'm adding. Some aspects of the escape room that they were adding that they would like me to assess for their creativity. I also was allowing them to declare parts of the project where and there was a lot of flexibility and asking them to show their strength. So, for example, if students were, more keen on creating code, they could take responsibility for that part of the project. And if the students were more keen on the graphic aspects and the animation aspects, or maybe the strategy and skill building aspects of the puzzles that they were building with the escape room, they were able to focus on that. So there was a lot of grading flexibility within this project. Now, if you are interested in seeing this rubric in more detail, please don't hesitate to email me, and I'm happy to provide you with a copy. I'm just going to show you a quick video here, and these are just excerpts from the builds that my students have created, and it's a short minute, so I will see if I can talk you through some of these aspects that they have built. Now, all these projects were built by my students. So this is a student who building the escape room with a welcome message, and then they were, building. So they built part of these, added different aspects. You see the bookshelf move there. You enter into the room, and this was a fun puzzle. This thing at the wall. These were parts that my students built themselves. So they created that sort of when you make the shape, the door will open. This was a really interesting one. If you are teaching plants and solar systems, this is a great idea that my student had. Like totally took me by surprise. Once they arrange the planets in order, okay, you actually get a code. So all the planets in the solar system in order, you're able to get a code to open. Just showing you some of the code that worked out there. And my projects were as varied as the students that I have. This one was a student who built it in the desert. So a little bit of fun work that they have done. So again, just a quick show. What else? I really, I guess I expected it to be fun, but I was quite surprised as to how engaging and fun it was for them. And there would be other students who are coming to ask me who don't take coding, coming to ask me about this interface. They were also students who took coding wanted to use this interface in virtual reality in their other classes. Most popular social studies and ELA, and I'll show you why in also later on in the session. The engagement with other subjects was obvious. Creativity can also be placed in the rubric, and so I find it quite difficult as a teacher to assess creativity very easily. But for this particular project, I sort of started to think about how, as I mentioned, the rubric can incorporate that creativity. And of course, technology for good. We're using, a meaningful way of creating and not just consuming technology. And of course, you can start to think about solutions. You can break scenarios. All kinds of things can be built into the virtual reality space. These are some other ways and just some pictures of me and my students. You can see over here, our students is using a merge cube, which is an augmented reality piece. And this is something that my students are also engaged in. I will not focus on it this for this session, but it is also an aspect that the virtual reality interface that I will show you can actually cover. It is an add-on that you can purchase and you can show students how to create with the Merge Cube. Now, I'm going to go into the virtual reality space now and how I brought it into the classroom. The following are some slides, and then we will go right into the actual CoSpaces itself, and that's the name of the project or the program that we use to code. So, when I introduced this to my students, I was able to create a slide deck. So I'm just sharing with you the slides. I won't be playing these slides here, but you can see I start to talk about a tutorial. Oh, I won't play it, but there we go. And then, of course, cospaces.io is where I taught them where they would log in. Now, I have purchased a subscription to CoSpaces for my students. The subscription obviously allows for a lot more flexibility. So if you are interested, I would highly recommend this subscription. But if you're just starting out, you can just see what aspects that you can focus on. Free group exploration, I always find that it is really helpful for students to be able to start by playing. And that goes for whether we're building Lego encoding or microbits encoding or even Scratch. And that was part of my introduction here to virtual reality. I logged them into the space and I asked them to just explore it. For the first few lessons, it would be exploration and some guidance to that exploration. So I start to introduce a fun point system where students in the group would try to achieve the number of points. So if you're set up an environment, you get 5 points. If you're creating coding and you're making some features like loops, you get 10 points. So students will start to explore targeted exploration, like uploading a recorded audio, uploading 3D objects. So for example, you could find an object in Tinkercad and you start to put it into this space, maybe a Google drawing or character animations, etc. So you can see now I'm starting to guide some of their exploration into skill building, so kind of step by step into it. And as we finish that exploration day, or the couple of days that we would use to explore, I start to ask them to connect to the work that they are already doing. So, for example, can they look at science or social studies or languages that they might be engaged in their other classes? I asked them to do one of two things. They could do a review, so you could do a review for social studies, or a review for science, or you could build a museum with content of your choice. So some students chose sports museums, Pokemon museums, all kinds of hobby type museums, as well as some students chose to create a science review or a social review within their work. Now, coding in CoBlocks, I would say that I want the students to take this learning by themselves and take what they need. I did provide them with some instructions, and these instructions were available on YouTube. So I got some YouTube videos and put them together so students have kind of a repository for where they needed to find information, and they start to create these themselves. Now they're starting to play, so I'm just gonna skip that slide. Okay, so we're gonna head off to CoSpaces to start to create. When you get to CoSpaces, you're going to log in and start to create a CoSpace. Now remember, my subscription it gives me a few more options, but here we are. I created an empty space. Trying to move that cursor out of the way there. And you have a gallery with a library of things that you can add to your space. There are lots of characters, and I won't take the time here to browse, but I'll let you have that opportunity. I'm going to pick this character right here, zoom in. Now, CoSpaces, you can use your keyboard WASD and move your mouse to kind of navigate this space with the arrow keys to move it up and down. 3D spaces are a little bit tricky. I am now going to change customize my character, if you like. Gonna give them some blue skin. I went to material to do that. Now they got some blue skin, and change their hair maybe. I can custom color. Now, these are incredibly fun for students, as you can imagine. Picking some red, picking some blue eyes. There we go. And now we can play with some animation. Before we do that, let me just see here. There we go. We can move it around and just kind of to see the positioning. We're going to see whether we can make it dance. There we go. And in order to see the action, you actually have to press play. Now my screen kind of hides that in the corner, but it's the play button. You can see it's doing this dance. Thank you. All right. You can add other characters like animals. So we add a little puppy here. Just drag and drop. There are many ways to manipulate and play around with it. That's why students have a lot of fun with it. Just going to make this puppy chase its tail there. In order to code with the individual objects, we have to make sure that we turn on use in code blocks so that we are able to code it in a minute here. Now, you can see this is a very plain environment. As a subscriber, I have some options, and you can play around with these as well, different environments that students can create in, add different things like cars and, and other bits and pieces like a library, etc. You've seen that in my earlier example. And I also want to be able to create and play within that space by myself. So this is my favorite part, which is the building part. Adding just a regular cube, but you can get to play around with this cube, make it a little bit thinner. As you can see, I'm going to build a wall or a little house around my character, or my characters. Now, these are easy and fun to do, and students really get a hang of it after trying it for a few times. Command C, Command V, or copy and paste, as it were, will let you make multiples of the same. And now I'm going to rotate it, and you can see the different controllers that are afforded in this space. I could rotate it that way, but that's probably not what I want to do. I want to rotate it on this axis and move it to the back of this space here. And change the size if I like. I don't want to lift it, I just want to move it. So let's use these control arrows to move it to where it needs to go. There we go. Just about. And some minor adjustments. All right, I'm off to find a door. I think I'm going to search for it. Here we go. It's the door. And found my door. See whether I can attach the door. Okay, some resizing will need to take place here. And we're going to attach the door right there. And that way, when we press play, I can actually see the door in the house. Now, it's not going to work right away because we actually need to code this door. So herein lies some of the fun parts now as you're trying to get deeper and deeper into the program. I might get the door to open, but as you can see, I've added it to my code. So let's see whether I can add some code to it. Let's see if we can play that. Yeah, for sure, the door is open. All right, so we click code on the right side there. We choose code blocks for the coding language. This is very familiar block coding. Definitely a favorite. Looks like Scratch for many of those who are familiar. When play is clicked, or we're looking at some order and some definite structure in the way that we want to do. Casual girls want to say welcome when the play is clicked, and when the play is clicked, when front door is clicked, we want a front door to open or close. I think it's going to be close actually. Let's see. Okay. All right. And then we'll play. So she's already saying welcome, and now we click on that front door, and you are closing the door. And that looks really good. Now, it is a great way of just exploring and playing and figuring it out with your students. CoSpaces also has an incredible gallery for you to peruse and get some ideas. And of course, to apply this work to other aspects of your classroom. So it doesn't just have to be computer science or coding. You can look at the galleries that are involving social sciences. I love this one here. It is a Roman house in virtual reality. Now, if you do have virtual reality goggles in your classroom and you want to see let students peruse this using those virtual reality goggles, you can actually do that, and you log in as a regular website, like you would log in online in the virtual reality goggles, and the space will actually become three-dimensional, and you can actually explore this space quite meaningfully. And here we are in a Roman house. And you can click on these question marks, and obviously students can actually make these themselves. A lot of building with those square cubes, if you like. These are parts of the Roman house if you're studying it. This is Students can create this as a review, as I earlier mentioned, or just use this as a way for you to explore things in your classroom. There are also other parts of the gallery that you can explore and take inspiration from. The Space and Its Mysteries one is a great example. And there are so many others, the solar system. These are built by other educators as well as the CoSpaces team, so for you to explore. Languages and literature, of course, what are you teaching? Languages, literature, stories, books. I really like this one created by the CoSpaces team. This is the merge cube I spoke about earlier. This is an add-on that you can purchase for students to actually create augmented reality images. And if we played this is six sides of the cube have been transformed into stories. If you remember Life of Pi, and that book. It starts with number one, of course, and Pi takes off into with his family, and the different aspects. And then that whale was, of course, that night scene where all the bioluminescence and such. A really fun exploration if you are interested in introducing augmented reality also into your classroom. This Lord of the Flies map is something that you can ask students to create in language arts from a book. The idea of how to depict a book within virtual reality, so students can easily make a map and kind of create parts and pieces of it. Again, they can animate parts of this, use their computational thinking skills in this, creating a design solution for a story that they might be familiar with in DELA classroom. Now, there are again many other examples that you can choose from, and I hope you have a fun time exploring. I'm going to show you a really fun thing that my students love to do and gets me all dizzy. If you have a virtual reality headset, you can totally try it. This is the Pirate roller coaster. It does take a while to load, should be good. All right, and we're off into sitting in a roller coaster situation. And off we go. Now, if there's actually sound also that you can embed uh, within these virtual reality spaces, so it's quite fun to play around with it. There's actually a template for roller coaster building that subscribers can purchase, or sorry, not purchase, but be part of their subscription. And you can definitely get students to really engage in this one. This one is a pirate theme, of course, but I'm sure they can come up with some fun, exciting themes to build with and have fun with. All right, so that's it from me. I hope you get to try it with your students, and I'd be curious to know how you do in your classrooms. Thank you so much for watching this session as part of the Global Impact virtual conference hosted by ISTE community leaders. Please watch other sessions, including those pre-recorded and those offered live. You can join in the conversation throughout the conference on ISTE Connect and on social media using #global and #ISTE community. Thank you so much for watching.